Ladies and gentlemen, by the power vested in me, I hereby constitute this assembly as the legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, certificates, diplomas, and degrees, with all the associated rights and privileges, will be awarded and conferred on the candidates whose names appear in the program. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we request you to join us in silent prayer or meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Vice Principal of the University of Pretoria, allow me to extend a warm welcome to all present at this truly special event. Today, we will be celebrating the achievements of our students graduating from programs in the Faculty of Health Sciences. Allow me to extend a special word of welcome to Professor Tiaan de Jager, the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Di Manning, the Deputy Dean of the Faculty, and Mrs. Jo Bengani, Assistant Director in the Department of Enrollment and Student Administration. Then too, a special word of welcome to chairpersons of schools, heads of department, directors emeriti, and honorary professors and other lecturers and their spouses. We furthermore extend a warm word of welcome to supervisors, co-supervisors, external examiners of Dr. Randi, the representative of the Student Representative Council who will present the SRC academic honorary colors. And then too, we extend a particular warm word of welcome to all persons to whom certificates and diplomas and degrees will be awarded and conferred on this afternoon. Lastly, we extend a warm word of welcome to all spouses, parents, and other parties, as well as dignitaries whom we may not be aware of. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of 30 ceremonies in the autumn graduation period, where a total of 11,637 qualifications will be conferred. Today, we are conferring 559 qualifications in the Faculty of Health Sciences, including 12 doctoral degrees, 111 masters, 77 honors, and 200 MBCHBs. Ladies and gentlemen, there can be no denying that the contribution of the University of Pretoria to the total graduate output in South Africa is significant. Indeed, according to a 2015 Department of Higher Education and Training study, 1 in every 10 degrees awarded by traditional universities in South Africa are UP degrees. Furthermore, more than 17% of all master's degrees awarded by traditional universities in South Africa annually are awarded by the University of Pretoria, and 15% of all doctoral degrees awarded by traditional universities in South Africa are conferred by this university. In addition to this, more than 27% of all engineering degrees and more than 15% of all health sciences degrees awarded by traditional universities in South Africa annually are awarded by the University of Pretoria. Now, of course, it is not only in terms of the number of graduates that it qualifies that the University of Pretoria contributes, I believe, substantially to South African society. The university, we believe, also contributes significantly in terms of the kind of graduates that it produces. This, in effect, brings me to the focus of my brief presentation here this afternoon, namely the graduate attributes that the University of Pretoria wishes to see or to inculcate in all of its graduates. In 2012, ladies and gentlemen, the University of Pretoria adopted a set of attributes which it believed all its graduates should possess by the time they complete their studies. I will focus briefly on some of these attributes. Firstly, however, let me state that the University of Pretoria tries to inculcate these attributes in its students because we believe that it is this set of attributes that enables our students to hold their own in the world of work, whether they work in the public or private sectors. Furthermore, we believe that it is this set of qualities that makes UP graduates so sought after as employees both in South Africa and abroad. Indeed, it is this set of attributes that sets UP graduates apart. Now, I will briefly run through some of these attributes. Firstly, we hope to inculcate in all of our students, apart from obviously the content knowledge that we wish to impart, we wish to impart a sense of autonomy and confidence. UP wishes to ensure that its graduates can function autonomously and confidently as individuals within the work environment, locally and globally. The university wishes to ensure that they can demonstrate initiative in their work as well as their personal lives. Secondly, the university hopes to inculcate a sense of leadership. The University of Pretoria works towards ensuring that it produces a type of graduates that are capable of assuming leadership when leadership is called for. Thirdly, the university hopes to inculcate a sense of intellectual curiosity. UP graduates have a thirst for knowledge and apply the knowledge that they acquire to create innovative solutions to work and broader social problems. And then, very importantly, the university wishes to inculcate a sense of integrity. It believes that UP graduates should behave ethically and with integrity within their professions, their personal lives, and in broader society. And then, very importantly, we hope to inculcate a sense of social responsibility. Above all, the university endeavors to ensure that its graduates have a sense of social responsibility. It endeavors to ensure that its graduates strive towards working for the public good, social justice, equality, and fairness wherever they find themselves, both nationally and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, it's at this point that I wish to introduce a narrative to illustrate what distinguishes what I believe distinguishes UP graduates from other graduates. The narrative is about the circumstances and achievements of a very young graduate named Quinton Mkondo. While I'm sure that many amongst you have read about him in the Pretoria News some 2 weeks ago, the singularity of this narrative bears repeating. By the way, this story also appeared in the Sunday Times under the title, "The University of Pretoria Yields Truly Exceptional Graduates." I now quote from the Pretoria News. On Friday, 21 April 2017, Quinton Mkondo graduated with a degree in actuarial science and financial mathematics from the University of Pretoria. What is exceptional about the case of Quinton Mkondo is that he commenced his studies at the University of Pretoria at the very young age of 15 years and graduated at the age of 19. Quinton was born in Soshanguve and grew up in Bushbuckridge, where he was raised by his grandparents. An exceptional school student, Quinton matriculated at the very young age of 14. This was possible because he was able to skip both grade 5 and grade 9 due to his advanced scholastic abilities. In grade 10, Quinton decided that he wanted to pursue a degree in actuarial science and at the University of Pretoria after he had attended a career fair during his matric year. Quinton was intent on studying actuarial science despite the rumors he had heard about the difficulty of the degree and the exacting standards of the University of Pretoria's Actuarial Science and Financial Mathematics degree program. However, he knew that in order to qualify for this program, that he would need to improve his mathematics mark, not because of any inability on his side, but that was the fact that he knew that he needed extra assistance with mathematics can be attributed to the school that he had attended. Consequently, Quinton enrolled in the University of Pretoria's extended program in mathematical sciences at the university's Mamelodi campus, a campus that I believe really does exceptional work and something that I would have liked to speak about at length this afternoon, but time prevents me. This period of study, the study at the Mamelodi campus, was difficult for Quinton, as he had no bursary. Furthermore, at the tender age of 15, he had to live away from home by himself for the very first time in his life. Nonetheless, he successfully completed all his foundation modules and subsequently transferred to the Hatfield campus to complete his degree. In an interview, Quinton said, and I quote, "My journey at the University of Pretoria forced me to grow up at a much faster rate than the normal South African teenager, but I don't regret 1 minute of it. I have grown in so many different aspects of my life, learned to work hard and never give up on what I want to achieve." Quinton's time at the University of Pretoria's Hatfield campus was not always easy either. His course load was very challenging. Furthermore, the final year of his program also coincided with the widespread student protests throughout South Africa in 2016. These factors required of him to approach his studies with self-discipline and to maintain his dedication and his motivation to complete his degree. Regardless of all the challenges that he faced, Quinton was able to pass all of his courses. He now believes that with hard work and discipline, he can face any challenge before him. Demonstrating evidence of wisdom that many that are older than him do not display, Quinton observes that, and I quote, "The only time you lose is when you give up. Endurance is the hardest part. I feel like the challenges I face have brought out a new, stronger version of myself." Quinton considers receiving his degree from the University of Pretoria as one of the greatest accomplishments of his life. And I quote again, he says, "I am very happy for choosing to study at the University of Pretoria. The university has helped me develop a lot of character and valuable skills that will no doubt set me up for life." Quinton is currently enrolled for his mathematics statistics honors degree at the University of Pretoria and is working as a teacher's assistant on campus. He has gone back to the Mamelodi campus to assist students who are in a similar position as he had been when he started out at the University of Pretoria. One day, Quinton says, he hopes to work as an analyst for one of the major banks in South Africa or own his own private investment company. Like many young people from a similar background, Quinton is a first-generation university student. And I end off with a quote from Quinton. He says, "I'm hopeful that my achievements can serve as inspiration and an example to people who live in underserved communities, such as Soshanguve." He concludes his interview. Ladies and gentlemen, to my mind, Quinton exhibits the attributes that UP aspires to engender in its graduates. Quinton is self-reliant and self-driven. He has a sense of autonomy, endurance, and confidence. Above all, he clearly has a strong sense of social responsibility. Of course, the financial difficulties encountered by Quinton during the foundation of his studies also points to one of the major indictments of our society, namely its inability to adequately resource the education of a large sector of our younger population. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that the attributes of self-reliance and autonomy displayed by Quinton also characterize the life orientation of the graduates, the certificates, and diplomates present here today. For how else can one explain the fact that you had completed your qualifications under the difficult circumstances that had characterized higher education in 2016? All of us here present will agree that this ceremony represents the culmination of much hard work and sacrifice on the part of those who are graduating and receiving diplomas today. So, once again, my sincerest congratulations to everyone who will be receiving their degrees and certificates today. Congratulations for having stayed the course. Congratulations for having reached the goal of successfully completing the programs for which you had enrolled. And of course, congratulations to your parents, your guardians, partners, sponsors, and others who had supported you materially and in other important ways during the period of your studies. Finally, congratulations and sincere thanks to those who had lectured and supervised the students who will be receiving their degrees today. I know, ladies and gentlemen, that students who study at the University of Pretoria are selected to study here because of their intellectual abilities, but the intellectual potential cannot come to fruition without the able facilitation of the people sitting here on stage. Graduates, diplomates, and recipients of higher certificates, I now wish to request that you give yourselves, as well as your families, lecturers, and supervisors, a resounding round of applause for your achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention, and now I request the Dean and supervisors to introduce to me the candidates present whose names appear in the program in the order in which they appear.
Mr. Vice Principal, today is the second of two graduation ceremonies for the Faculty of Health Sciences, where degrees in the School of Medicine and the School of Health Systems and Public Health will be awarded. I request Mr. Sandile Makoba, a voice artist, to announce the candidates.
Good afternoon. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the high certificate in sports science. And firstly, we have Anome Basson. Sabrina Potian. Shantae Finger. Cameron Jacobs. Nawal Yardeen. Nawal Yardeen. Denise Johnson. Keenan Michal. Thabo Mohane. Conrad Mayberg. Samantha Niemand. Anthony Smith. Dean Steinberg. Guy Terry. The highest certificate in sports science education. Robin Africa. Shannon Claassen. Juvan Maritz. Khotso Rapoto. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the postgraduate diploma in general ultrasound. Temkosi Matangatye. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Clinical Medical Practice. Firstly, we have Ngubego Biela. Cassandra Franken. Ayla Furi with distinction. She also gets the award for Family Medicine Facilitator Prize for the third-year student who demonstrated the best leadership qualities. Excuse me. Mthunzi Gasa. Mxolisi Kazu, who also gets the award, the Discovery Prize for the third-year student who achieved the highest marks in the Quality Improvement Project in the Healthcare Systems module. Lucky Gumbi. Sthembiso Hadebe. Stobile Hlengethwa. Sibusisiwe Jali. Sinazo Khumalo. Philisiwe Kunene. Shay Lambenon. Thandeka Mabuza. Samkelisiwe Magwenyana. Letlohonolo Mashigo. Angel Masilela. Tintswalo Masinge. Nhlakanipho Mathe. Sanele Mathenjwa. Thabang Matlala. Ayanda Mbatha. Mlungisi Mbatha. Mncedisi Mbele. Mambocha Mbogota. Sthembiso Mbuyisa. Nthabiseng Mdluli. Sanelisiwe Mkhize. Kyotsepele Muthudi. Thelma Mthembu. Ntombi yenkosi Myeni. Thobani Ndaba. Thobile Ndlala. Lindokuhle Ndlazi. Tinswalo Ndlovu. Thandazile Gcamu. Nqubeko Nikwe. Mhlangano Nkambule, who also gets the Discovery Prize Award for the third-year student who achieved the highest marks in the Quality Improvement Project in Healthcare Systems module. Thato Ntodi. Sydney Nyoni. Paul Nzimande. Lucky Padziri. Lizzie Paho. Lusanda Palafala. Lindokuhle Shabalala. Sibusiso Shabalala. Dunsani Shibambu. Sibusiso Sibeko. Kekeletso Tamai. Nolwazi Tusi, who also passes with distinction. She also gets the School of Medicine Prize for the student who made the largest contribution to the student community. Thank you. Lwazi Tsabetse. Stefina Tsowane. Nkosikhona Xolo. Nobuhle Zondo. Nompumelelo Zulu. Zama Dladla. Aphelele Gamede. For the Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, Chinedu Atagana. Eliska Badenhost. Jacobus Badenhorst, who passes with distinction. Jason Bassett, who passes with distinction. Marie Bernardet, who passes with distinction. She also gets the SASOP Award for the Best MBCHB Final Year Student in Psychiatry, the SASOP Award to the Best MBCH as well. Jacob Bijou. Liani Boshoff. Luzanne Botha. Hermanus Brit with distinction. Jan Breeweg. Anjane Brink. Chandre Bron. Peter Ann Brown, who passes with distinction. Mohammed Kaji. Ashik Kasim. Rosalind Chalonnet. Yan Hong Chen. Shale Chetty. Nishal Charito. Marius Clouet, who passes with distinction. Magdalena Kutsi. Tian Kutsen. Lizani Kutsia. Shanae Kutsia. Jean Kutsia. Ryan Marcello Kutsia. Franza Kutsa. Rian Kombrek. Joanna Constantino. Natasha Kretikos, who passes with distinction. Andrzej Drabowski. Nicole de Monse. Nolene de Jong. Shanae Dioner. Fransuno de Villiers. Elizabeth Diamond. Amanda Zamini. Smiso Zamini. Karian Dreya, who passes with distinction. Jardine Duplessis. Leoma Dupree. Jonita Dutoit, who passes with distinction. MTS Ibrahim. Riaz Ibrahim. Stephanie Eichstadt, who also gets a distinction for MBCHB. Inali Erasmus. Sharon Forer. Christopher Finn. Karen Ferreira, who passes with distinction. She also gets the Excellence in Clinical Pediatrics Prize to the student who obtained the highest marks for clinical component of the final examination in pediatrics, and to the student who obtained it. That's her. Michael Ferrerina. Thank you. Angus Fletcher, who also passes with distinction. He also gets the Smith and Nephew Prize for the best student in orthopedics. Luke Giangregorio. Katlego Gofa Modimo. Priyesha Godan, who also passes with distinction. Kristen Goos, who passes with distinction. Rochelle Grobler, who passes with distinction. Wayne Grobler. Uruji Haq. Angelique Hatting. Shanae Hayward, who passes with distinction. Nicola Head. Claudia Hetzler, who passes with distinction. Rachel Hoffman. Marissa Hazer. Celine Sarah James. Elizabeth Janssen van Ransburg, who passes with distinction and also gets the Pediatrics Alumni Prize for the best student in pediatrics during the 5th and 6th year of study. Jacqueline Janssen van Vuren. Mari Yober. Nomzamo Khoza. Robert Kieser. Dae Kim. Shaylee Kirsten. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Ursula Koch. Rosil Hof. Jeandra Kotze. Ruane Kotze, who passes with distinction. Frans Kozemanul. Trudy Kritzinger. Gerniker Kruger. Ntabi Singh Hubjana. Molebogeng Kutumela. Precious Lebotse. Thank you, Precious. Mamuahi Lekolona. Ralitili Lesofe. Maritz Liebenberg. Nico Lin. Yvonne Loeto. Brittany Lowe. Anjali Megan. Sekhofatso Mailula. Amantle Malele. Sekwere Malachi. Danielle Mandemaker. Carissa Marias, who passes with distinction. Devald Marias, who passes with distinction. Lesejo Marule. Emily Masitela. Tapelo Matlou. Banele Mazibuko. Wait, hold on for me, Ethan McGlade, who passes with distinction. Annika Malate, who passes with distinction. James Menya Ativo. Bronwyn Metcalf. McDonald Metileng. Luan May. Victor Mitchell. Zamadlomo Mkabela. Nontokozo Mkhize. Sijabulisile, sorry, Mkhonta. Pamela Mlambo. Nwabisa Mngeni. Abraham Mahano. Esrad Mokadan. Regina Monacheng. Khodiso Moraladi. Tapelo Motaung. Mahali Motabeng. Lesejo Motsamai. Mutsudi Mutsei. Gilbert Mubangizi. Andreas Naidu. Caressa Naidu. Kalen Naidu. Pranatiara Naidu, who also gets the Nestle Prize for the best student in pediatrics at 6th year level. Thank you. Amira, 9. Larina Narain Sami. Nhlamulo Ndima. Msizi Ndlovu. Kalien Neatling. Gabriel Nell, who passes with a distinction. Jan Nell. Beatrice Nell. Ronwin Nelson. Helen Newton. Ialo Nifindaga. Reginald Gihepa. Eddie Nieuwenhuizen, who passes with a distinction. Brian Nixon, who also passes with a distinction. Laurent Norris. Tenele Nzima. Oates, okay. Aimee Oates, who passes with distinction. Mia Udendal, who passes with distinction. Noel Oosthuizen, who passes with distinction. Stephanus Oosthuizen, who passes with distinction. He also gets the School of Medicine Prize for the best student in the final year of study. Thanks. Raisa Osman, who also passes with distinction. She also gets the Sasach Not Gauteng Prize for excellence in obstetrics and gynecology. Anna Papadopoulos. Dirk Pienaar. Mariska Petersen. Jenna Piper. Drini Pierre. Likapa Pule. Sanam Rama. Oatse Ramaina. Pratna Ramad. Mosana Ramolocha. Rishoketso Rampedi, sorry. Hilda Reneke, who passes with distinction. Julio Ribeiro, who passes with distinction and also gets the Schwan Moton Prize for the most consistent academic achievement as student intern in surgery. Michelle Rossley. Ryan Sabet. Rami Shabelt. Thank you. Was I close? Hein Skuman. Zanel Schulenbach. Nicholas Schurman. Nana Siwori. Kebetswe Sieti, who passes with a distinction. Mutlana Sermula. Tsidi Setusha. Masejo Seklodi. Sharoma Sipasad. Yunus Sheikh. Bianca Siebold, who passes with distinction. Jean-Marie Siemens. Nowanda Sitole. David Smith. Kate Smith, who passes with distinction. Marianne Smith. Senden Soryamuti, who passes medicine with distinction. Oh, sorry, please come back for me, my brother. He also gets the Sasok Prize for the best student in community obstetrics. Got it right? Margaret Springer. Thank you. Jonathan Stephen. Jonelle Stonehouse. Isolde Straub, who passes with distinction. She also gets the Frikkie Engels Prize for the best student intern in urology. Louise Strauss. Bonke Sumbulu. Francois Tilliard. Nonhlanhla Tabete. Aman Tron. Valentina Trivella, who passes with distinction. She also gets the Internal Medicine Prize for the best student in internal medicine, and also gets the Ethicon Prize for the best student in general surgery. Annika Truter, who also passes with distinction, she gets the SA Academy for Family Medicine Primary Care Prize for the best student in family medicine. Lorenza Omson. Lozana van der Kolk. Estelle van der Linde, who passes with distinction. Joanna van der Merwe. Carly van der Walt. Nicholas van der Wysthuizen. Rensje van die Kerk. Robert van Rensburg. James van Schalkwyk, who passes with distinction. Karel van Staden, who passes with distinction and also gets the SA Society of Anesthesiology Prize for the best final year student in anesthesiology. Melanie van Straten. Stephanie van Vuren. Johannes van Zyl. Annika Venter, who passes with distinction. Hendrik Verloon. Tiani Visser. Jozaan Voigt, who passes with distinction. Haley Wall. Henty Webb. Jacqueline Webb. Johanna Wiening, who passes with distinction. Carmen Weiser, who passes with distinction. Emilia Wilson, who passes with distinction. Ntokozo Xulu. Xolani Zimu, who passes with distinction and also gets the psychiatry prize. He also gets the psychiatry prize for the best student in psychiatry. Nothando Zulu. Bachelor in Clinical Medical Practice, Noluthando Maseko. Nkosingimele Mvubu.
Bachelor of Science.
Okay. All right. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science Honors. And firstly, we have Nosipho Khumalo. Kgaugelo Mphahlele. Candace Winter. In pharmacology, we have Lila Adam, who passes with distinction. I mean pharmacology, excuse me. Anastasios Anathasiadis. Stefan Basson. Vuyelwa Bouquet. Sibongile Chabalala. Andre Alaro. Grant Hutchison. Eloise Marais. Ranson Mashego, who passes with distinction. Zili Maso. Poncho Machacha. Machacha. Sibusiso Mchunu. Kholofelo Muremi. Keith Ncube, who passes with distinction. Musa Wenkosi Ncube, who passes with distinction. Honse Sehone. In physical anthropology, we have Janice Giel. Lorette Joubert. Okuhle Sapho. Goodness Shakwane. Mzwakhe Sibanyoni. Elizabeth Willemse, who passes with distinction. In medical criminalistics, Brigadier Hanet. Eunice Khatebe. Crystal Struble. Nicola Vernal. In medical microbiology, Remuratile Mogale. Mamelo Motsei. Kudzai Nyazema, who passes with distinction. And in medical virology, we have Shiana Facey, Catherine James, who passes with distinction, Kotatso Menno, Topisang Mutlo, Alicia Vermeulen, who passes with distinction. And in macroanatomy, we have Livo Beital, who passes with distinction. Thank you, my brother. Ursula Mariani. Tiasha Nedesan, who passes with distinction. And in medical oncology, we have Matloli Mkabele, and in human physiology, we have Johannes Bazaidenhout, Skofi Bafo. Claudia Kasiri. Robin Dupree. Odette Emerson. Lorenzo Fernandez. Shantae Furi, who passes with distinction. Marna Chrobler. Scott Hargrave. Maputi Lebelo. Vickers Mir. Julian Nunes Gonzalez. Thanks. Excuse me. Mary Ann Pasha. Macau Tlailane. Okay. Okay, let's just wait for a bit. Bernadette van Heerden. Bernadette van Heerden. And in human cell biology, we have Bonisiwa Chilwane, Busisiwe Maseko, and in neuroanatomy, we have Edwin de Jager, Vian Havenga, Anya Koning, Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Medicine. And at this point, we're looking at anesthesiology. We have Therese Dupree, Bernd Leonard, William Mashoho, and in family medicine we have Paul Ajemba, Owen Eels, Job Maben, Isiaka Salau. Andrew Ume.
Thanks, my brother. Just give me 1 second, please.
Christopher Menzi Zungu. And in internal medicine we have Kelebogile Khomo. Tlangelan Tiva. Herman van der Laan, who passes with distinction. Gisela van Rooyen. And in pediatrics we have Delina Manzini. Mulifi Polo. Elizabeth Fenter. And in neurology we have Sunaina Sasikamur, excuse me. And we have Lynette van die Kerk. And in emergency medicine, we have Masikhanyi Sedlamini. Vidya Lalu. Lindy van der Kolf. And in obstetrics and gynecology, we have Tsagane Hlongwane. Kofi Kao Asante. Hopewell Monareng. And in orthopedic surgery, we have Maleo Maku. Andries van die Kerk. Medical virology, we have Rendani Mafuyega. And in psychiatry, we have Kubu Makhobe. And we have Khumotso Ngube. Rian Prinsloo. And in radiological diagnostics, we have Motwedi Mono. Nae Sihlali. Masters of Medical Pharmacology, excuse me. We have Hasina Kasim. Joseph Mangwane. Then we have Magister Scientiae in Anatomy. We have Anja Vid. Yes, thank you. And Master of Early Childhood Intervention, we have Carmen Alias. Terry Lee Bartman. Alma Kutza. Robin Gomez. There we go, Robin. Soleil LaRue. Look at the camera, Shanae. Shanae Naidu. Catherine Smith. Jolene Todd. Karine van der Masht. Nandi van Sale. Master of Science Pharmacology, we have Sarita Downing. Willem van Eerden. Medical immunology, we have Refilwe Bokaba. Thank you. Carla Dessers, who passes with distinction. Okay, in medical criminalistics, we have Barbara van der Venter. In medical microbiology, we have Marlies Potgieter. Jonas Setoa. Medical virology, we have Maxine Malvake, who passes with distinction. And in hematology, we have Louise de Villiers Dutoit. In human physiology, we have Crystal Fury. Zore Riari, with distinction. Amsa Fisahi, who passes with distinction. In cell biology, we have Innocentia Mahoshi, who passes with distinction. In sports medicine, we have Isabella Sparks. Santa Marie Fienta. That's about it. I think that's about it. Thank you. That's all I've got for now. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates from the School of Medicine.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Tracy Hurrell, who has complied with the requirements for the degree PhD in pharmacology with a thesis titled Proteomic Assessment of Potential In Vitro Hepatotoxic Models, prepared under my supervision and with the co-supervision of Professor Catherine Lilly of Cambridge University. In her thesis, the promovenda carried out a series of detailed, quantitative, stable isotope-labeled mass spectrometry-based proteomic assays to identify and quantitate the total protein complement of several hepatic models used for determining potential drug-induced liver injury during in vitro cell cultures. Proteomic analysis comparing the gold standard of primary human hepatocytes to terminally differentiated stem cell-derived hepatocyte-like cells and to immortalized hepatic HepG2 cells that were cultured in both monolayers and as 3D spheroids was also performed under control and drug exposure conditions. Clear evidence that this commonly used HepG2 cell line represents a poor model for human hepatocytes was provided, with low expression of critical phase 1 drug metabolizing proteins and limited evidence of drug-induced hepatotoxicity at both cell viability and proteomic levels. Overall, the study has advanced the understanding of preclinical in vitro models for drug-induced hepatotoxicity and makes an original and meaningful contribution to the knowledge in the field. An afto akogai san Elenicus esas, boranasas dia viasoso olos giatro herol ola katala vaiene. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Mr. Carlo Stephen Jackson, who has applied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Medical Immunology, with a thesis titled The Expansion and Transduction of Hemopoietic Stem Cells for Gene Therapy, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Marco Weinberg of the University of the Witwatersrand as co-supervisor. In his thesis, the promovendus has addressed two fundamental areas in the field of gene therapy, namely the ability to grow hemopoietic stem cells without differentiation, one of the holy grails of the stem cell field, as well as the improved transduction of these stem cells using lentiviral vectors. He has successfully developed new techniques and improved on existing techniques to enhance both parameters, and in the process has made important contributions to the gene therapy field. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Lesibana Anthony Malinga, who has complied with the requirements for the degree PhD with a thesis titled Characterization of efflux pump genes involved in second-line resistance of tuberculosis, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Marty van der Walt, Professor Anton Stolz as co-supervisors. In his thesis, the promovendus described changes in efflux pump genes of extensively drug-resistant strains of tuberculosis and analyzed protein changes and mutations associated with resistance to several important second-line drugs for the treatment of these forms of the disease. Specific molecular markers of increased influx in extensively drug-resistant Mycobacterium tuberculosis isolates were identified, in addition to specific mutations affecting lipid metabolism and secretion pathways in the organism. The findings have direct application in the development of novel strategies for the treatment of drug-resistant tuberculosis. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Jan Geert Nel, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Induction of Neutrophil Extracellular Trap Formation and Heterotypic Aggregation by the Pneumococcal Toxin Pneumolysin in vitro, prepared under my supervision with Professors Roger Poole and Annette Theron as co-supervisors. The research undertaken by the promovendus was focused on the bacterial pathogen known as the pneumococcus, which remains a very common cause of infectious disease worldwide, associated with considerable morbidity and mortality, even in the antibiotic era. The findings of his research, which have been communicated in several articles published in international biomedical journals, have uncovered novel mechanisms of inflammation-mediated tissue damage which may contribute to the pathogenesis of acute organ damage and dysfunction in patients with severe pneumococcal disease, as well as potential targets and strategies to counteract these harmful inflammatory responses. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I now introduce to you Teresa Marie Rousseau, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis entitled HIV-1 Induced Immune Activation as a Predictor of Treatment Outcome in Patients Receiving Highly Active Antiretroviral Therapy, prepared under my supervision with Professor Greg Tintinger as co-supervisor. In her thesis, the promovenda investigated relationships between the intensity of systemic inflammation and virological and immunological responses to antiretroviral treatment in a large cohort of HIV-infected patients recruited from South Africa, Nigeria, and Zambia, who were monitored over a 2-year period. Her findings have revealed previously undocumented associations between residual systemic inflammation and immunological treatment failure that were also influenced by HIV viral subtype and geographic region. These observations have resulted in publications in international biomedical journals recommending the use of adjunctive anti-inflammatory therapies in HIV infection. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Tracy Smith, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Genetic Relatedness of Zoonotic Staphylococci recovered from close human contacts and bovine intramammary infections, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. M.M. Kok as co-supervisor. The promovenda investigated the diversity and virulence characteristics of Staphylococcus species recovered from bovine intramammary infections and close human contacts. Low levels of antimicrobial resistance were detected among the bovine isolates, while higher levels of resistance were detected among the human isolates. Sequence typing showed a novel S. aureus sequence type and unique polymorphisms in the staphylococcal protein A gene. These findings showed that the S. aureus strains circulating in South African dairy herds are undergoing molecular diversification, which contributes to the existing knowledge regarding the global epidemiology of S. aureus. This strongly suggests bacterial transmission between hosts and supports the need for monitoring of staphylococcal populations at the bovine-human interface. Several conference presentations, 2 articles, and a handbook chapter resulted from the research. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Priscilla Soma, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Physiology, with a thesis entitled Inflammatory Markers and Ultrastructure of the Coagulation Profile in Diabetes mellitus, prepared under the supervision of Professor Pretorius. In her thesis, the promovenda explored the etiological factors contributing to accelerated atherosclerosis in diabetes. These included the role of serum, ferritin, morphological abnormalities in diabetic red blood cells, platelets, and fibrin networks, and how these impact on the pathogenesis of atherosclerosis. Using flow cytometry, the candidate confirmed that diabetic platelets are hyperactive. In addition, the effect of earthing, the process by which free electrons absorbed from the earth cross the inflammatory barrier and neutralize free radicals, accumulating at the site of inflammation, was explored. Improvement in red blood cell morphology was observed, with a trend towards normal structure. An alternative therapy for improving morphological diabetic coagulation profiles was clearly demonstrated. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Helena Tata, who has complied with the requirements for the degree PhD in anatomy, with a thesis titled The Mode of Action of Synthetic Peptides, OS and OS-C, derived from the soft tick Orthodorus savingi, prepared under my supervision, and with Professor A.R.M. Gasper of the Department of Biochemistry as a co-supervisor. In her thesis, the promovenda evaluated the mode of bacterial killing by OS and OS-C, a dual mechanism of action, membrane targeting, and binding to intracellular components was identified, although differences were found between OS and OS-C targeting. Using physiologically relevant human cell types, the promovenda found that the peptides were not cytotoxic to erythrocytes. In leukocytes, only high concentrations of OS caused damage, while OS-C caused activation of free radicals. OS and OS-C protected blood cells against oxidative damage. Both antimicrobial peptides were then identified as potential novel therapeutic agents. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Janae Visser, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Physiology, with a thesis entitled Investigating the Protective Effect of Oligomeric proanthocyanidins on whole blood and iron levels in type 2 diabetes, prepared under the supervision of Professor Pretorius and with Dr. Soma as co-supervisor. In her thesis, the promovenda studied the protective antioxidant effect of OPCs in type 2 diabetic patients. erythrocyte membrane morphology, function, fibrin network ultrastructure, and coagulation were investigated via light, scanning electron, atomic force, and confocal microscopy, as well as viscoelastic techniques. She demonstrated that OPCs have a protective antioxidant effect on erythrocytes and fibrin networks in patients with type 2 diabetes. She argued that OPCs could have a beneficial effect on diabetes-associated comorbidities and ultimately assist in lowering the burden on healthcare systems throughout the world, including South Africa. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Okay, Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the postgraduate diploma in occupational medicine and health. We've moved on to School of Health Systems and Public Health. We firstly have Johanna Boer. Mantata Chilopo. Nompumelelo Dlova. Michael Zivani. Frederick Kauma. Nunu Ledwaba Mueli. Themba Makuvele. Mahabo Malebechale. Jane Manamela. Tanki Mokhali. Itumeleng Mutlautse Makine. Xolelwa Ncham. Kazimoto Nyembo. Matato Palafala. David Porfa. Lumka Puani. Rudzani Ramanyimi. Thank you. Buyisiwe Sibiya. Nonhlanhla Sishaba. Okay, just hold on for me for a second. We're moving on to the postgraduate diploma in health systems management, specifically in general operations. We have Ntombi Zodwa Nkambule. Oh, sorry. Oh, she passes with a distinction. Sorry, it wasn't highlighted. Thank you, Brown. Moving on to executive leadership, we have Kulani Kuzwayo. Thank you, Brown. Thank you, Mivon. Jabulile Ngomezulu. We now have the postgraduate diploma in public health. And firstly, we have Elizabeth Moropa. Nomfundo Ndebele. Loveness Satande. Give me a second, all right? Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science Honors in Occupational Hygiene. And first we have Jacobus Lingerfelder. And then we have Teboho Mshe. And then we have Elelwani Musekwa. And then we have Masters of Science, Epidemiology. Can I please take that from the top? Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Masters of Science, specifically Epidemiology. First, we have Precious Hutchison. Nomsa Tabete. Carrie Lee Calvate, coming from the Clinical Epidemiology faculty. Thank you. Yes. In environmental health, we have Hannah Simba. Master of Medicine, Public Health Medicine, we have Leshona Nolo, Majake Mahoba. In Masters of Public Health, we have Gifty Adu. Chad Anderson. Ramokone Baloi. Irain Chaparajanda. Ruvimbu Chingonzo. Jende Emungu. Julius Camera. And then we have Skulile Kupagonke. Bauba Koma. Arona Low. Maloshol Zandile Mabeleng. Radineo Maboe. Then we have Bridget Makungo. Pinky Manana. Francina Mapuroma. Marangela Mokhlala. Thank you. Sanele Ngobo. Mbavalelo Shandukani. And then we have Liliwe Shuping, who passes with distinction. Oh, Dipotseng, okay. Dipotseng Tsilo. Thank you. Andre van Sale. And then we have Bontle Zuze. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates in the School of Health Systems and Public Health to you.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, I introduce you to Simon Moketsi Mudusinyani, who has complied with the requirements for the degree of philosophy, Doctor of Philosophy, with a thesis titled Towards an Understanding of the integration of health into foreign policy in South Africa, access to antiretrovirals, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Harvey Feinberg of the Gordon Betty Moore Foundation USA as co-supervisor. In his thesis, the promovendus showed that amidst the growing literature on global health, much has been written about South Africa and its potential impact on global health, particularly in relation to international health development. Little empirical research has been shown, however, conducted to better understand the arguments for integration of global health into foreign policy. In this thesis, an attempt was made to empirically theorize and operationalize the notion of global health diplomacy in South Africa. This thesis used existing frameworks to explore the integration of global health in foreign policy in South Africa using a lens of access to antiretroviral medication. The findings have showed that South Africa's motivation for engagement in global health cannot only be explained on the basis of high and low politics discourse, but that unity, Ubuntu, and global solidarity, international development, and health as a human right are the driving forces for understanding global health. It also underlined the supportive roles of transnational networks in the actual development and implementation of health policy process. This thesis demonstrated that deliberate and consistent unity of local actors can act as a catalyzing force to put access to ARVs on a national global political agenda. Global governance for health must be rooted in commitments to global solidarity and shared responsibility, and sustainable and healthy development for all requires a global economic and a political system that serves a global community of healthy people on a healthy planet. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges, on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Natasha Morris, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Public Health, with a thesis titled Spatial Decision Support for Malaria Control and Elimination in Southern Africa, prepared under the supervision of Professor Rajendra Maharaj. In her thesis, the promovenda explored the application of spatial decision support systems in malaria control and elimination settings. Spatial enablement of 15 years of malaria case data at the community level facilitated high-resolution mapping and the understanding of distribution and risk. Spatial analysis of these data enabled the identification of hotspots and foci of transmission, at which appropriate intervention packages might be targeted to reduce and eliminate local transmission. The results of this study have also formed the foundation of the South African foci clearing program. The development and implementation of spatial decision support for malaria in both control and elimination settings continues to present a challenge to many African countries. Methodological and technical guidance, together with implementation experience, remains a critical gap in public health, a need that this study addressed. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges, on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Katerina van Zyl, who has complied with the requirements of the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Health with a thesis titled Estrogenic Activity, Target Endocrine Disrupting Chemical Levels and Potential Health Risks of Bottled Water and Water from Selected Distribution Points in Pretoria and Cape Town, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Natalie Anakan as co-supervisor. In a thesis, the candidate applied bioassays for estrogenic activity and target chemical analysis to samples of drinking water and different sources. Estrogenic activity and chemicals such as steroid estrogens, bisphenol A, and adipate and phthalates were detected in the water samples. A scenario-based health risk assessment revealed unaccepted human health and carcinogenic risk associated with consumption of distribution point and bottled water. The study led to the conclusion that potentially endocrine disrupting chemicals found in water samples are of concern. A monitoring strategy was recommended. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Dames en heren, ek versoek nou die dekaan om die kandidaat vir die toekenning van die infusiekanselier en rektor in die fakulteit Gesondheidswetenskappe aan my voor te stel.
Mr. Vice Principal, I have the honor to introduce to you Stephanus Petrus Oosthuizen for the presentation of the award of the Vice Chancellor and Principal. Stephanus Oosthuizen complied with all the requirements for the Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery degree on 30 November 2016, and the degree was conferred on him today with distinction. He distinguished himself during 2016 as the overall top achiever in the Faculty of Health Sciences. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to present the candidate with the award of the Vice Chancellor and Principal.
I hereby present Stephanus Petrus Oosthuizen with the award of the Vice Chancellor and Principal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the proceedings. Before we close, I wish to invite all present for refreshments afterwards in the tent situated in front of the Rembrandt Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now also going to appeal to the people sitting on the stands to give our graduates a last round of applause. I think they represent so many years of work. And then I'm going to ask our graduates to give a warm round of applause to the people who have supported them through the years of study. Ladies and gentlemen, you are requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing until the assembly has been dissolved and the academic procession has left the auditorium. The words of the national anthem are printed on the inside back cover of the program.
Israel,
Dames en here, kragtens die bevoegdheid aan my toevertrou, ontbind ek hierdie kongregasie van die Universiteit van Pretoria. By the powers vested in me, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby dissolve this assembly of the University of Pretoria.
Gaudeamus